For over half a century, humans have endeavored to make business a force for good. But is the movement working? Or is it time to explore a new path forward? Welcome to Less Talk, More Action. We are your hosts, Joel Caesar and Owen Barrett, experts in clean energy, net zero real estate, decarbonization, and entrepreneurship. In each episode, we ask provocative questions and share stories from the front lines of sustainability with leaders in science, tech, and business taking real action to design a cleaner, better future. Thanks for joining the conversation. Now, let's get to work. Welcome to Less Talk, More Action podcast. My name is Joel Caesar, the world's undisputed voice of building decarbonization. Joining me as always is Owen Barrett, the self-proclaimed Adam Newman of green building. Today's guest, Gus Bartholomew, co-founder of Leafr, a platform that's transforming how businesses access sustainability expertise. Gus was an awesome guest. You know, you and I both like his content on LinkedIn. He can be a little spicy and provocative. He's got a different way of thinking about how sustainability should be structured, but I enjoyed it. What'd you think?
Yeah, it's not often that you are the second most provocative LinkedIn content creator on the pod. So that was a good change of pace. But no, I mean, his values are like exactly what this podcast embodies. So I think he was a great guest.
Yeah. But before we get into that with Gus, let's dive into a segment we're calling Owen and Joel Bring Their Online Beef to the Podcast. So you posted, someone was posting about Meta and a big data center they just recently built and celebrating its sustainability achievements because it's built with mass timber. And you, being the jerk that you are, commented underneath, taking a shot at Meta, saying this was greenwashing. And then I pushed back and said, no, it's not. This is mass timber. This is a real thing. It's a big benefit to the environment. And data centers are going to be built regardless. But I'll let you push back, and we'll try to not make this go on too long here.
I mean, for the sustainability nerds out there, I'm not knocking mass timber. I agree. It's good. But I think this is like virtue signaling in the highest degree, where all they did was talk about how good mass timber is, and they forgot to include the fact that the data center is going to use 20% of all of Manhattan, or more energy than all of the homes of Louisiana, or more water than an entire city. So as you know, tech companies build out these data centers, which they need to do, let's not forget about the environmental impacts of them. And sure, build them out in the right way, but that doesn't mean that they're good. And I think we just have to be honest.
Okay, well, you just acknowledged something, though, the point I was trying to make, which was we need data centers. And the big tech companies are going to build them, regardless of whether they're made of mass timber or concrete, or if they're solidified oil. Like, they're getting built. And so I don't think it's fair to attack them for trying to do it in the most sustainable way, which I would argue mass timber is.
You should not put an article out there. The sustainability team should have seen this coming and said, let's not tie a sustainability article to a data center. It's just hypocritical. Like, yeah, we need data centers. I get it. Some idiot on LinkedIn was like, by posting on this platform, you're using a data center. I'm not ignoring.
I agreed with him.
I'm not ignoring the importance of data centers. I'm just saying,
you want to go to the Stone Age and attack people for building.
That's not at all what I'm saying. I'm just saying you should not promote sustainability within the same article about building a new data center. It's entirely hypocritical, in my perspective. Just focus on your sustainability efforts elsewhere.
And just to really, I think, emphasize what I would argue is the impact, though. I mean, I worked on this at Google. Embodied carbon was a big strategy of ours, and we did a ton of research on mass timber. And if you source the wood responsibly from the right forests, and that structure stays tall for a long period of time, 50 plus years, and you compare that to what normally would be built, concrete and steel. And concrete is one of the world's largest emitters on Earth. The making of cement is literally cooking calcium carbonate, which creates carbon dioxide. You can't decarbonize. I mean, people are going to push back on me. There is lots of movement being made in low carbon concrete, but for now, most of these giant data centers that you're criticizing, you know, again,
not criticizing the data centers.
Well, we can all agree they have a huge environmental footprint. Let's agree on that. That's true. But if you can replace all of that concrete with responsibly sourced mass timber, that's just a massive difference, and they should get credit for that.
See, I agree with everything you said except for credit. Who cares? If you look at the operational emissions compared to the embodied emissions, I bet it's less than 1% of the lifespan of a data center. Who cares?
Well, that's a good bet to make.
But
I don't know if I'm gonna
we
take
should
you
dig
up on
into
that
those
now. We
numbers
should,
because
yeah, we should
I don't
check that
actually
out.
know.
Yeah, that's if you're gonna throw out claims like that, we should back it up with some math.
I'll use
We need a
ChatGPT to figure it out for me.
yeah, or we need our producer like McNeil. Can you look that up so he can just be providing us this data in real time?
That'll be 2026. Let's talk more action. Get a little admin guy on the side.
Well, that was fun. Always up for lively debates on LinkedIn, in public, on the podcast. It's what we need, real talk. And with that, it's a great segue into this wonderful conversation we have with Gus Bartholomew. Today, we're joined by Gus Bartholomew, co-founder of Leafr, a platform that's transforming how businesses access sustainability expertise. Gus has spent over a decade working in sustainability, starting his career in construction, then sustainable manufacturing, with real boots on the ground experience, visiting factories across Asia and Europe, helping modernize supply chains, and now with Leafr, helping companies cut through the noise to hire the very best sustainability expertise fast. Leafr has grown into the world's largest global network of vetted sustainability experts, supporting industries from FMCG to construction to finance, helping businesses not just set targets, but actually deliver impact. Leafr believes sustainability teams need to be built differently in today's day and age if we're going to hit our collective targets. So, Gus, welcome to Let's Talk More Action.
Thanks for having me.
Well, it's a very cool intro. A lot of boxes checked for us. I'm excited for this one. We've been courting you for a while to join the show. But before we dive into everything, we start our guests with the same question. Gus, how are you taking action to make the world a better place?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think that ultimately what we're trying to do with Leafr is give more businesses access to the expertise that they need. I think that is one of the biggest challenges that our industry face collectively, which is that, as a population, we have not decarbonized a society before, and so there are very, very few people who really have the practical and technical experience of doing that. But what we're trying to do with Leafr is make sure that that expertise is shared around to all the businesses that need it. And so, yeah, very much a cool part of how we're trying to ensure that more action is taken.
I like that perspective. I mean, it's not one that we hear a lot, but it's true. Like we've never had to decarbonize, and I think our industry is guilty of having a lot of self-proclaimed experts, Joel and myself included. So, but it's a good perspective to have. But I like the part of the intro that said you're not just trying to, I forget exactly, share knowledge, but you're actually trying to help companies deliver impact. Can you dive into that a little bit more? Like, how do you make that transition from here's the knowledge, here's the plan, let's go actually do something?
Well, it's even better. It's even more in your wheelhouse, Owen. He says not just set targets, thing I know you attack a lot, but actually deliver impact. So go ahead, Gus.
Yeah, I mean, I think that over the last 5-10 years, a lot of progress has been made when it comes to how we're actually going about calculating things, how we're measuring, how we're reporting. And that's all good, right? That's kind of the base requirement for us being able to take meaningful action. But doing all of that doesn't actually change where we're at. Emissions still rising dramatically. It all comes down to us actually taking action, having those people that do the work, do the messy work that comes after reporting. And so I think that what we're going to see in the next 10 to 15 years is this real shift in terms of the skill sets that a lot of professionals have. From saying, yeah, great, look, we've got the reporting, we've got the measurement nailed now, but how do we now do the really hard work of taking action? That's what we really want to make sure that we're helping companies to drive into and embrace.
Man, I love this guy. I knew I would. He's just saying all the things we love to hear here. I mean, it's exactly the name of the show, talking about more action. I mean, we might even push back on the reporting and the measurement. That's all good. I don't know. Is it all good? But we'll agree with you for now. But I'm interested, Gus. I didn't know, just reading your intro, you got a construction background, as do I. And I know Owen has spent his life, most of his professional life, installing stuff, building stuff. So maybe the question here is, like, I align with everything you just said. It's a big thesis of the show. It's a big way I orient my career at this moment. And I often think, like, is it the construction background? Like, I was in a place where shit got done, and if people didn't do it the right way and take action based on contractual requirements, people could get hurt. Like, it was real serious work. And those of us who come from that kind of background kind of come to this world of, well, we're just going to report and set targets and measure. And you're like, well, at some point, don't we got to build something? You think maybe this, like, your construction background feeds into the way you see the world?
Yeah, I think so. Like, I mean, I studied civil engineering originally, and got very interested in construction through that, and then spent the first part of my career like on site, actually building buildings. And I think, and actually that was what got me interested in sustainability, like sustainable design, alternative materials, low embodied carbon materials, that kind of stuff. And yeah, I think there is definitely this kind of practical approach. Like, this just needs to get done. That transition from things being in the kind of virtual theoretical world to actually the practical physical world of, like, no, this is a thing, and this is what's going to hang around and have the impact. So I think, yeah, definitely it impacts how I think. My brain is very much wired in a kind of practical, silly based, yeah, right in mind.
Gus, is Leafr, is it a international company?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So, I mean, the way that we kind of skew is we're predominantly, I'd say, like 50% of our consultants and our clients are in the UK and Europe. 30% is North America, and then 20% is rest of the world. We've got smattering across the globe. Definitely different geos are now really starting to hot up in terms of the work that's coming through, which is, I think, a real positive. And I think that split, kind of definitely represents broadly, the continents and the areas where things have progressed quickest. But I think it's good, encouraging to see.
No, that's good. I'm glad he said yes, because if you said no, I'd have no follow-up question. But we're definitely, like, American centric on this podcast, and so I have an assumption. I want you to tell me if I'm right or wrong. My assumption is that the U.S. has the biggest disconnect between reporting and actual impact. Is Europe and the other regions that you're working with, are they following up their reporting with more action and projects that actually decarbonize? Is America behind, or are we all sort of on the same page in terms of how far that gap is between reporting and action?
That's a really good question. I can't say I have enough knowledge to really give you a straight answer. My take on this is that we would be in broadly the same position. I think that what's happening in Europe is that there is a lot that goes on, and a lot of jostling for position when it comes to reporting frameworks, certifications, that is actually causing a lot of time to be wasted. We've just been through this whole fiasco with CSRD, which was going to be rolled out. Then there was a lot of pushback. Then there was this omnibus update. And you think, well, this is just crazy amounts of time and effort and work that so many people are putting in, when actually we'd be far better off taking all of that and actually just doing
decarbonizing buildings or something. Yeah,
exactly. Doing something real. So I think I think every geo has its problems, but they seem to be broadly the same. And I think back to the point I was making at the start, like, we're making progress towards taking action, I think, but we're still somewhat stuck in reporting and measurement.
Well, it's great to hear, Gus. I mean, not great. That's not the right way to say it. It's unfortunate. We're all both experiencing this disconnect, but I guess, like, that Owen and I, and it's like what's the right way to say it? Is it a minority? I think there's a silent majority that agree with all of us here in this industry. Like, one of my most viral posts on LinkedIn ever was when I said software does not decarbonize buildings. People that take action do. Reports don't. Commitments don't. Studies that talk about how to do it don't. Like, you gotta, like, someone's gotta hire a contractor and do the thing. And, like, it got so much traction. So many people DM me like, thanks for saying it. So I think there's an undercurrent in this industry of everyone recognizing the same thing. And Owen mentioned recently on one of our podcasts, we were just at this conference in California a couple weeks ago, big real estate sustainability conference here in the US, huge, large commercial real estate firms. Like it's like the who's who if you're doing especially real estate sustainability in this market. And I think Owen, I won't speak for you, you can correct me, but I think one of your takeaways was like starting to, for the first time, hear a very consistent murmuring at an event like that. Like the reporting's too much. We're just like, this is all. And sometimes people will push back to me privately, like, don't you think we need to report and don't we need data? Because I might rail on it a little too much. And I try to say like exactly what you just said, Gus. You can't act like that doesn't have an impact. Like there's time and money and people to do work. And if you have them bogged down in administration and bureaucracy to report and comply with regulation, they can't do other things. So, maybe I'm disagreeing with you, but maybe both of you can respond.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. I think to Joel's point, like I deem it reporting fatigue. I think the industry is just they kind of have had it. Like I'm an outsider to this world. We don't do any reporting. I mean, we do the projects that our customers include in their reporting, but it kind of seems like there's a 4 to 6 month period of every year that's just all people do is report. And I think people are getting sick of that. And I think more people need to push back. I think GRESB needs to become every other year. I've already said that on multiple pods. I don't know if it's ever going to happen, but like reporting is not the goal of our industry. It's like that simple. So I don't know. We say it all the time though, Joel. I think
well, let's let Gus say it better. If you follow Gus on LinkedIn, he's very knowledgeable, very articulate. He's got a good way of kind of elevating the conversation. So yeah, let's let Gus respond accordingly.
Yeah, so I mean, I would say I broadly agree. Like, I think, of course, certifications, frameworks, reporting have their place, and it's important to have a level of standardization to it. But I think there's also this element of done is better than perfect in a lot of these scenarios. Do we need to be arguing over the 0.1% or exactly when it comes to a scope 3 emissions, exactly where things should be allowed to be double counted or not be allowed to double counted? There's a lot of it's very easy to get very, very finicky.
Yeah.
And you kind of lose sight of the thing that's actually out there. Like I kind of came about I kind of experienced something similar to this, first and foremost, when I was working in supply chains out in India. So working with apparel supply chains, vetting factories, making sure that helping retailers link up with them and work with ethical and sustainable manufacturers. And we would go to the factories and visit them, visit that, verify that they were decent factories. And a lot of these factories would be saying, well, yes, this is crazy. We're now having to certify with this body, this body, this body. And everyone's broadly the same, right? They all want to ensure that there's no forced labor, there's no child labor. It's really good when it comes to like the standards, overtime, all of that. But they all got their own little nuance. Oh, the factory layout has to be like this if it's this certification. It has to be like this if it's this other one. And basically, these factories just get stuck in audit fatigue, and it becomes this completely worthless exercise. And I think that. And this is probably a really unpopular opinion, but I do think it's important, which is like you have to realize when it comes to a lot of certification bodies that they are also often commercial enterprises who are wanting to be the leader in their space, right? They've got an agenda there as well to make it complicated, to do all of these things and to ultimately certify more businesses. The more businesses that they certify, the bigger their revenue. So they've got perverse incentive there to actually make it more challenging, which takes us really far away from the thing that we actually want to do, which is improve our standards and decarbonize. So I think that's what makes it really quite difficult.
That's not an unpopular opinion on Let's Talk More Action. That's for sure. Well, Gus, let's talk more about Leafr. So construction, supply chain. I'm sure there's other pieces of your resume and background you can fill in the gaps here, but how'd you land on Leafr? Why now? Why do we need it?
Yes, I mean, ultimately, this comes down to one core problem, which is that sustainability teams are hugely under-resourced, right? You go around any business of any size. We did a big survey last year, and we're doing it again this year at the moment, called the True State of Sustainability. basically go and speak to loads of CSOs, heads of sustainability at businesses from small up to FTSE 100 multinational businesses. And even when you've got businesses that are tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of employees, often their sustainability teams are literally 1 or 2 people. It's insane. So, and they are massively, massively under-resourced. They have very, very little budget. And yet there is this ever-increasing rise in terms of the expectations for them to deliver really quite incredible gains for their businesses. Full new business models, net zero commitments, 90% reduction in emissions. Like these are like huge, huge transformations. And so what we really see is like, right, well, actually, given the current macroeconomic environment, I don't think that situation in terms of budgets is really going to change significantly over the next 5 years. So the way that we kind of think about it at Leafr is, well, how do you help businesses and those sustainability teams to do more with less? And that ultimately comes down to much more effective resource allocation. How do you get the people that you need at a particular time to do a particular thing into the business to deliver that? And so that's like the model that we really believe is the best way forward. Having a small core strategic team that really sets the targets, leads on the strategy, and then bringing in expertise as and when you need them to deliver specific tasks, and bringing in people that have that exact experience doing that thing in an adjacent industry or the same industry. Because I think also one of the problems is that there's a lot of businesses that are actually doing exactly the same work. A lot of repeat work happening across industries, all with the same shared goal in mind.
Gus, we had a guest last week, and we are going back and forth on kind of whether like corporate social responsibility is dead. And I was saying, I think it is, because I think our industry needs to do a better job sort of repositioning the work we do as either revenue generating or like expense saving. Do you think, I mean, with what you've seen across different sustainability teams and different organizations, do you think there's an opportunity to justify growth of sustainability teams if, again, instead of focusing on reporting, we focus really on like the OpEx savings that can come from these teams? Because to me, it seems like such a pure business case that sustainability can save a huge amount of money or, protect inventory in certain instances. But it seems like we need to reframe how our work within the sustainability department is contributing to the goal of the overall organization.
Yeah, I mean, fully agree. I think that one of the, I can bang on about this a lot, but I think that sustainability has an image problem. It has a branding problem in itself. And I think maybe some of that comes from where it has emerged from. But actually, a lot of the things that are now being done and where we need to bring more kind of backgrounds from different areas of the business into sustainability is ultimately far more. And the easy things to do when it comes to decarbonizing are things that are also very, very good when it comes to operational efficiency and cost efficiency. Having much more effective energy. Like it's and that's not really a kind of traditional sustainability piece or like CSR piece is very, very unrelated. And so I think that's also a key thing that how I think about this, which is like, who should your sustainability team be reporting into? Because that also has a huge influence in terms of how the org thinks about it, how it's resourced, and also the action it can take.
And I've experienced in my career on internal sustainability teams some crazy reporting structures. Like, why are we reporting to this organization? Clearly, no one cares about us because we're sitting over here. But let's not go deep down that rabbit hole. I want to come back to the tactical kind of skills needed for the moment in time idea here. You're talking about at Leafr. When I was at Google, I was leading the net zero real estate program, and we set up a great framework, dashboard, cost calculator, very strategic analysis, world-class consultants to like execute the work over a period of time. And then, like a lot of companies, kind of struggle to like action the work for various reasons. But I remember thinking, and I kind of pitched this but like I was like, we need a strike team. We need like someone to come in. Like when we've identified this is the right moment to do the project, like there needs to be an organizational commitment that, okay, this other group's going to come in because we all trust them and we know they're tactical and they're construction people, they're project management people. They kind of know decarb. They know what we're doing here. They're not going to be around all the time because that's just going to create more bureaucracy, but we're going to bring them in because they're going to be great at what they do. And it's like this kind of different way of thinking of sustainability. And I haven't heard someone bring it up the way, at least I was thinking about it until like the way you just described sort of what Leafr's thesis is. So yeah, I mean, how's that? Is that kind of the way you guys think about it? And is that working that way in the way you guys are working with companies?
Yeah, it is. Broadly that's playing out. Like I think that by being able to bring in people who have that experience and basically don't get too caught up in the internal bureaucracy of things, can actually have far more, they are much more mission orientated. Yeah, they're brought in to deliver a specific thing. That's what they're going to deliver. So as long as you're pointing people in the right direction, then I think, it can be a very, very effective way of actually making progress.
I was going to, Owen, let me jump in real quick and then I'll come back to you. Gus, on one of your posts recently, I forget exactly what you said, but I commented the future of a fractional CSO using an AI-based platform is coming for the entire industry. I think I said something like that. And I'll admit, like I work for an AI-based sustainability data analytics company. So like we would benefit from that future, but I do believe it. And we used to talk about this a lot with some of the consultants I worked with when we were leading the program I just described. And you as the poster of that probably can't see the commenters' impressions, but that comment under your post got 10, I think now it's up to 20,000 impressions. So clearly like it resonates. I think maybe it pisses people off. If you're in sustainability, you're like, F no, my team is so valuable. And I believe what Gus said earlier, like we're under-resourced. We need more people. So I guess like, I think that's a world you agree with, right? Fractional CSOs using AI to automate some of the things that we don't need people doing anymore. But at the same time, you think we need more resources. So how are you balancing those ideas?
I'd say it's all about smart resourcing. I don't think about this in terms of we need more headcount. We need more output, and it's however you can deliver that. So basically, like impact per. I think about it like impact per, almost like per hour, right? That's what we really need to be thinking about. Like, how do we bring in the right person at the right time to deliver that? There's no point in having someone hanging around for a year or full time if actually there's really like this pinch point of work which is 3 months in the year that they need to do this one particular thing. And I think that's what isn't understood particularly well at a higher level within organization, which is that sustainability now is an incredibly broad and incredibly deep specialism, right? Like you can't be a one-person sustainability team and have all of the knowledge that you need to actually do what that business needs. It's crazy. It's like saying, right, we'll just have one person in marketing or we'll have one person in finance and they should be able to do account reconciliation, financial models, M&A, like the works. Like you're basically trying to hire a sustainability unicorn and they just don't exist. Like, so I think that how we need to help businesses is really like helping them to see that and seeing what that resource needs to look like and be like, look, we understand your reality. You're not going to grow out a team of 20 sustainability people, however much you would like it. Like there's just not going to be a clear business case for that. And also like, given where we are kind of economically at the moment, like the optics are just terrible, right? You can't be firing half of your commercial team and hiring the same in the sustainability team. It doesn't really stack up. So we need to be resourcing far more smartly.
Go ahead, Owen. I know you got a nice response there.
No, yeah, I agree with you 100%. I mean, I was just talking to a sustainability finance person yesterday that got let go of their job because of the optics now politically, which I think is like crazy that a politician could sort of sway the way multinational organizations are thinking about decarbonization. That to me was wild. But we have a lot of younger listeners that want to get into clean tech, want to get into sustainability. And one of the things Joel and I tell them is like, don't get a sustainability degree. Get a degree in something more nuanced, and then sort of work your way into the sustainability department. I'm curious, with all the work that you do with different sustainability teams, like what advice would you give younger folks that are trying to break into the industry? Like, what are some real value that they can bring to sustainability teams?
Yeah, so I actually, we obviously get approached by a lot of people who are looking to either transition to this space or earlier in their careers as well. And I think I probably see it in terms of two routes. Like if you care about maximizing impact, I think you've basically got two routes to go. One is going down the kind of consultancy route, go and work for a big consultancy, get broad experience working with lots of businesses, and then be able to take that forward. The other is actually saying, right, well, let's look at these big businesses. Where are the vast majority of their problems? Well, it's really in supply chain procurement. Like if I go and take a job in supply chain, and then actually try and improve things from within without a sustainability title, right? Just being in supply chain, like you're going to have far more real world impact doing that job than you are with a lot of other things, or trying to get a job as a sustainability manager at a business. So I think it's thinking about it more effectively. I think this comes to that point of how do we actually try and we kind of think about sustainability in three ways. I think it's basically three-pronged, right? Which is you need the right talent, you need the right technology, and you need the right training. And I think it's all about ensuring that training happens across the company so that everyone realizes that which part of their job can actually also drive the business towards this really ambitious goal.
Well, I'll build on the reference to people, young people or professionals approaching you. This is more of like a entrepreneurship question. You build basically a two-sided marketplace, right? You have people and you want to put them with companies, and they both need to come to Leafr, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I, in a previous life, Owen knows this, I tried to start a sharing economy startup years ago. We called it Stoke Share, and it was going to be action sports equipment like Airbnb. So people would rent each other surfboards, camping gear. And so I thought about two-sided marketplaces for a long time. It's challenging business because who do you focus on first? What's more important? Is it the workers to make sure that when the companies come in, they got really good people to pick from, or is it the opposite? So I guess, in the journey of Leafr and how you all are thinking about the future of your company, how do you balance those challenges?
Yes, I mean, we went through that exact thing. I mean, my previous business started out as a marketplace, and then we actually pivoted it into being a SaaS solution for kind of some of those reasons. But building marketplaces is incredibly difficult. With this one, we saw getting the best people on board is going to take a bit of time, so that we've got the leading person in X for this industry. We felt like that was going to be the hardest challenge. So we went out and did that hard work early. And then we were very, very fortunate with that. We saw that was the harder side to do initially. But actually got very lucky with that, got some early traction, got pretty well known. So that we now have something like 30 consultants apply every day to come and work through Leafr.
And are these people that are like between gigs, or I've just decided I kind of want to be a mercenary, for a better way to put it?
It's a whole mix. I mean, we only take the best of the best. So people who have a minimum 5 years experience in the space and have real demonstrable experience doing the work with businesses that the type of businesses that we're doing work with. So there is we only accept about 15% of the people that we apply. So our standards are pretty high. So it takes time.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned earlier, what did you say? It's not about more people, it's about more output. And so, the themes you're describing, lean sustainability, more, the right person for the right job at the right moment. It feels like sort of new ideas in sustainability. How's that? Is that you? Do you see that as a growing perspective, or are you going to a lot of people and trying to convince them, hey, you're not thinking about your sustainability team or operation the right way. This is how you should.
It's pretty new for a lot of people, but I think there is a lot of parallels to draw with different industries and different departments within this, right? Yeah, if you look at a marketing department in a lot of big businesses, this is exactly how we've operated for a very long time. It's kind of same with tech and software development as well. Finance is also another one where after you're often bringing in specialists to do different roles. So yeah, I just think it's about applying those same principles to the sustainability department and realizing that this actually does work. And I think that that there's that education piece of just how complex a lot of this stuff is, how much it does inevitably kind of push its tentacles into every single part of your business. So you do need people who have very, very varied expertise.
Gus, I think it was yesterday or the day before, you posted something about how, I'm going to summarize it. It's probably not going to be exactly right, but something about how like we don't have time to let perfection get in the way of progress. And that sentiment has driven me crazy forever. Like I've seen it in sustainability. I commented on your post. I saw this when Tom's shoes was really big. People would like complain and poke fun at him that, hey, like it's great you're delivering these shoes, but why don't you give these kids higher quality shoes instead of some shitty thing that's going to fall apart in a year? I'm like, why don't you go figure out how to donate thousands of shoes to kids around the world? How do we stop? I mean, this is going to be a hard question, but how do we stop that from perpetrating our industry? Because I feel like what people are nitpicking at is effectively innovation within decarb. Like, yes, it's not perfect, but it's progress. And that's not common in other industries, I don't think. I don't think people are constantly seeking the perfect solution. They're just trying to move the ball forward. How do we fix that in our industry? Or can we?
Yeah, it's really, really difficult. I think I think a reason for why it exists, I think it does serve a purpose in terms of driving things forward. Like I think that the way that I think about this is that ultimately it's scientists and activists who have helped drive the sustainability movement into the mainstream by a lot of those actions, and to hold those positions, they do have to be quite ideological and pure. And so that has helped us get to where we are. But now, once it has then entered the mainstream, the vast majority of people don't respond well to that kind of nothing. We won't be satisfied until it's perfect. And I think that what I was saying the other day as well is like, unfortunately, we're not in a position where we have time to completely reinvent our whole economic system, and that's really what's kind of being called for, right? Nothing is if capitalism is still our model, nothing is going to fully satiate the people who are kind of pushing that agenda. Any action that we really take is never going to be sufficient. But I think that's where we need to make sure that we work within the confines of our current system.
It's really well said, Gus. We're getting close to having to wrap up. And before we get to the last question, again, another kind of non-sustainability question I wanted to ask you. You got great content on LinkedIn. That's how I found you. I continue to follow you. I'm always triggered in a way by your posts. Sometimes I like them, sometimes I don't, but it's like great content. So I guess give advice. There's people out there that are working in our field that have their own businesses. Owen is running his company and this podcast is part of his brand. And I've been encouraging him for years to get his voice out there more, which he's doing on LinkedIn. But I guess, it must be working for you because here you are on the world's greatest sustainability podcast. We found you. But I guess any advice you can give to other creators, entrepreneurs, people that are trying to build businesses, like, how to approach social media, what you do with LinkedIn, and any tips you can provide.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of linked to the last one. I think that it's really important to recognize that the journey's pretty messy. No single person has all the answers. And I guess what I try and do with the stuff that I'm putting out there is, to raise points that I'm kind of grappling with, finding difficult. I think maybe other people might. Like I guess my sort of framework for what I put out there is I try and say the things that I think that people are probably feeling, but are too afraid to say. And that it jars with some people, right? You do get a lot of people saying like, oh God, I wouldn't be saying stuff like that out there. But I think that it's important to say, because it is really, really difficult. You've got a lot of people trying to do good work, but often being slightly held back because of this feeling, this kind of nervousness that, what about if they do something wrong? Then that's not going to help. And actually, like I said before, we don't have time for that mindset. We really, really need to get on and do the work. Like we're already, it's kind of, as soon as you start looking at the numbers, it's kind of almost just too depressing, right? In terms of how far back we are in terms of the progress we need to make. So, I just think to an extent, you've got to really push for it. And I think that if you're able to build a voice and speak out on social media and hopefully help other people to think about some of the things that you're thinking about night and day, then that's hopefully a useful way of trying to get more people on board and driving us all forward.
Yeah, and then being authentic. I think we all can recognize that's a currency that seems to be exploding right now.
I heard a podcast with Tim Ferriss, and he was talking about when he makes his content, the goal is not to appeal to everyone. He actually assumes that he's going to piss off 50 to 60% of the people that see it, but he really wants it to resonate with like 20 to 30% of his audience. And as Joel was pointing out, like I had a hard time really posting anything on LinkedIn because as a business owner, a small business owner, I was like, man, what if I say the wrong thing and it pisses off a potential customer and we will lose some business because of that? But seeing people like you and hearing things like Tim Ferriss, I mean, I do think there's just a massive opportunity as a content creator on LinkedIn to really bolster your brand, but also to drive new business. I mean, has that been your experience with kind of your voice on the platform?
Definitely. Yeah. Massively so. Yeah. It's a huge business driver for us. And I think it's about, you want to work with people that have some level of shared mindset with you. You don't have to agree with absolutely everything, but that's normal life, right? When your best friends, you're not going to agree with every single thing that they think. And I think that it's more important to make sure that you're kind of putting stuff out there that is thought provoking and is interesting and bring people into the conversation.
Well, if you think your LinkedIn content is helping your business, wait till you see the less talk, more action bump. It's a real phenomenon. You're gonna
Looking forward
it's
to
gonna
it.
be crazy after this podcast airs. All right, Gus, you alluded to it earlier. We're gonna go to the last question here. There is a lot of pessimism, and if you look at the data, we don't have time. So sounds like this question is gonna be right in your wheelhouse. But yeah, we try to end the show on a positive note to dispel. There is a lot of negativity and bad news, but a lot to be optimistic for. So, Gus, what gives you hope for the future?
I think when it comes to sustainability teams, one of the things that they do better than any other team is collaborate. But there is an incredible camaraderie, not just into team, but into company when it comes to that. And that's incredibly powerful. Like we're all in this together. And I think the more that we can all share things that are working, the innovations that we're kind of pushing, there will be some great breakthroughs that we can't even see at the moment that happen and have huge impact on the work that we're all trying to do. And I think, those things will be shared and will be great. So that's what kind of keeps me pretty positive.
Awesome stuff. Gus, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks, Gus.
Good luck to you. Good luck to Leafr. Please stay in touch. We'll be rooting for you. Yeah, it's been awesome to have you. We'll keep following and probably adding spicy comments under your posts in the future.
I'm happy. Hi, John.
Well, on that note, Gus, too, before we thank everyone else, how do we find you? Anything you can plug? Obviously you can follow you on LinkedIn, but Leafr, website, social media.
Yeah, usual places, leafr.com. Both me and my co-founder, Nick, very active on LinkedIn. Drop us a message on there. Always great to hear from people who are interested in Leafr. And yeah, any way we can help, we'd love to chat.
Great stuff, Gus. Keep pushing action forward. Owen, thank you for joining as always. Thank you to everyone for tuning in. You can find Owen and I also on LinkedIn, usually not only antagonizing Gus, but antagonizing other sustainability complainers out there. You can find this podcast and more great content at letstalkmoreaction.com. If you like the podcast, please subscribe, like, and share with your friends. And until next time, we encourage you to ask yourself, what are you doing to take action to make the world a better place?